There have been many alien sightings in China. Some of these incidents are man-made pranks, but others are real incidents. Many of us always think that we humans are the only civilization in the universe, but I'm afraid this is not the case. Today, I want to share with you an alien attack that shocked the whole of China. I think it is as shocking as the Roswell incident in the United States. So let's take a look. Let's turn back time to 1994. At that time, the whole world is caring about the comet Shoemaker-Levy 9. Everyone was so excited to know whether the SL9 comet will hit Jupiter, but in China at that time, another shocking piece of news drew people's attention away from comet SL9. And that news is the Meng Jiaogui incident. In June 1994, a lot of villages in Heilongjiang reported seeing an unidentified glowing object where they worked called Phoenix Mountain. One of these villages is the protagonist of today's story, Meng Jiaogui. At first, the villagers thought that the glowing object may be a crashed helicopter. To find out the truth of the matter, these villagers organized a team to go to the scene of the incident to check. Meng Jiaogui is one of them. They saw a huge circular reflector gleaming on the distant hillside when they got there. Everyone present at the time was very frightened and did not dare to approach the circular reflector. In the end, they decided to return to the village the same way. But this thing is not over right now. When Meng Jiaogui came home, he talked to his brother about this strange thing. Different from these villages, his brother guessed that the unidentified round object they saw might be a crashed weather balloon. Also, his brother suggested that they could pick up some parts from the crashed weather balloon and take it home for their use if that was the case. After following his brother's advice, Meng Jiaogui partnered with his niece-in-law, Li Honghai, who was 2 years younger than him. They decided to get up early the next day and pick up those parts before anyone else. The next day, Meng Jiaogui and his niece-in-law came to the mountain where the incident occurred, and they saw the huge white UFO on the top of the mountain. It appears to have been partially embedded in the rocks of the hillside due to the impact, while the exposed part is supported by the bottom bracket to the ground. The surface of the whole thing is very smooth. There is nothing like a window. According to Meng Jiaogui's description, the thing looked like a huge iron plate sprayed with silver paint. Meng Jiaogui was very excited by what he saw, even though he didn't know what it was. They walked up quickly, but when they were only about 150 meters away from the flying object, Meng Jiaogui's body reacted strangely. His body suddenly felt as if it had been electrocuted, and at this time, the UFO also made a very harsh horn sound, as if to warn them not to approach. The same feeling occurred to his niece-in-law, which forced the two of them to step back, and the situation eased slightly. But they were not reconciled, so they approached the UFO again from another angle, but the mysterious electric shock came again, and the force was stronger than last time, causing Meng Jiaogui and the two to suffer very serious harm. This damage completely terrified the two of them, and they fled the place very quickly. After that, Meng Jiaogui's experience of the two of them quickly spread throughout the whole village, and many villagers came to Meng Jiaogui's home to ask him what happened that day. People wondered what that strange UFO was all about. Such news quickly attracted the attention of the local government, and then the government decided to organize the villagers and Meng Jiaogui to go to the mountain where the UFO is located again tomorrow. But no one realizes that the real horror is only now beginning. They didn't go up the mountain the next day because of the rain. On the third day, June 9, 1994, Meng Jiaogui took the cadres and workers of the forest farm and went straight to the place where the UFO stayed. People prepared binoculars, cameras, tape recorders, hoping to leave evidence of UFOs. They started from the village and walked about 5 kilometers to the top of Phoenix Mountain, but unexpectedly, they did not see any crashed UFO. Except for the bare stones, there are no huge white unknown circular objects around the top of the mountain. At this time, Meng Jiaogua took the binoculars brought by the villagers and looked in the direction of the location where he found the UFO yesterday. Suddenly, he shouted excitedly, "I saw it," but before everyone could follow his perspective, he suddenly fell to the ground and twitched as if he had been electrocuted by something. This sudden accident made everyone panic, so they had to divide into two teams. One team continued to search for the white UFO on Phoenix Mountain, while the other team carried Meng Jiaogua to the village hospital. When Meng Jiaogua was sent to the hospital, he was twitching, unable to speak, and was afraid of any metal-related medical instruments. Once these metal instruments got close, he would throw them away like crazy. To be able to determine Meng Jiaogua's situation, the doctor asked him to write what he wanted to say on paper with a pen when he could not speak. But what is shocking is that Meng Jiaogua, who has never been educated in English, actually wrote a series of English letters on the paper, although these letters cannot form sentences with specific meanings. This situation made the doctor very embarrassed, unable to determine what happened to Meng Jiaogua. Meng Jiaogua fell into a coma in the next 2 days, but it is strange that when he woke up again, he suddenly lost the memory of them going up the mountain to find the UFO. After that, no matter who asked Meng Jiaogua about that day again, he said that he had no memory. Since then, this matter has been left to nothing in the village. Although the incident has quelled public opinion in the village, it was explosive news for the news media outside the village. This somewhat terrifying news quickly spread all over China, and another important character in this story, Zheng Qianni, also knew about it. Zheng Qianni is the editor of Northern Literature magazine, and he is also a UFO enthusiast. This matter naturally aroused his interest, so he decided to go to Phoenix Mountain in person to check the truth of the incident. Following the clues in the report, on July 19, 1994, 40 days after Meng Jiaogua's mysterious fall, Zheng Qianni boarded a small train to the place of the incident. He met a worker at a local forest farm who had witnessed a UFO crash in the car. The worker revealed to Zheng Qianni that on the night before Meng Jiaogua fell, he saw a very fast flying object flying towards Phoenix Mountain. But no noise was heard during the whole process. Another eyewitness interviewed by Zheng Qianni after arriving at Phoenix Mountain also gave a similar account. This made Zheng Qianni wonder if these UFO sightings had anything to do with Meng Jiaogua's electric shock. To verify her conjecture, Zheng Qianni found Meng Jiaogua, and it had been a month since he was electrocuted by a UFO. When Zheng Qianni approached Meng Jiaogua for an interview, his unique intuition as a reporter made him feel that there was something in Meng Jiaogua's words that he hadn't told them. Afterward, under Zheng Qianni's further questioning, Meng Jiaogua finally revealed the truth of that day, which shocked everyone present. It turned out that on June 9, when Meng Jiaogua raised his binoculars and looked in the direction of the previous UFO, he did find the UFO he saw yesterday, but in addition to this, he also saw a man dressed like a human raincoat, human-like creature. When the creature noticed that Meng Jiaogua was looking at it, it raised a finger, and a flash of red lightning flashed from the tip of the finger, and it was this lightning that stunned Meng Jiaogua. At first, Zheng Qianni didn't believe Meng Jiaogua's words until he saw with his own eyes the traces of electric shocks on Meng Jiaogua's body. Afterward, Meng Jiaogua revealed an astonishing fact that on July 16, an alien broke into his home and took him away. That night, Meng Jiaogua and his wife and daughter were just about to go to bed when they heard a click from his living room. He walked to the living room at random and saw a man who looked like a human but was not human. The creature stood in the center of the living room. It grabbed Meng Jiaogua with both hands, then took him through the wall of their house like a ghost in the movie, and threw Meng Jiaogua into the sky like a piece of cloth and Meng Jiaogua also felt a huge suction at this time, sucking him from the ground into the air. When he ascended into the air, Meng Jiaoguo saw the huge UFO emitting colorful rays of light. When he entered the interior of the spaceship, he saw many tall creatures with big round heads and 6 fingers, no noses and mouths, and square eyes. They seemed to communicate with Meng Jiaoguo through telepathy. They brought Meng Jiaoguo to something similar to today's holographic projection and told him about the incident of Comet Shoemaker 9 hitting Jupiter. These aliens told Meng Jiaoguo that they were the inhabitants of Jupiter, and it was because of this incident they had to flee here. They also warned Meng Jiaoguo that if they did not pay attention to environmental issues, they would end up like that. Like a comet, it is attracted by the gravitational pull of other planets and destroys it. In addition, one of them, who looked like a woman, came forward and had sex with Meng Jiaoguo. When their sex process was over, the female alien said that she would keep Meng Jiaoguo's genes, and if she had a child with Meng Jiaoguo in the future, she would bring the child to see him. After listening to Meng Jiaoguo's remarks, Zhong Qianyi was very shocked. At the same time, he also guessed whether this was a lie that Meng Jiaoguo told to become famous, so under his arrangement, Meng Jiaoguo accepted a polygraph test, and the results showed that he did not lie. Considering the social environment at that time, information and communication in the village where Meng Jiaoguo was located were not developed, and he had no way to know about this at that time. This incident not only caused an uproar at the time, but today, more than 10 years later, it is still impossible to know whether it is true or not. Although many people have raised doubts about the incident during these times, there has always been a lack of evidence to prove that Meng Jiaoguo was lying. This incident became one of the 3 major UFO incidents in Chinese history and was passed down by word of mouth among all UFO enthusiasts in China. Whether this incident is true or not, and will the child born by the female alien and Meng Jiaoguo return to Earth to recognize him in a few decades? All this seems to have to wait for time to answer. Today's Midnight Horror Story is over. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and see you next time.